Yeah, City getting busy. Hi, welcome along to the Transfer Centre. We'll hear from their newest signing in just a few moments. Kaveh Solokol, Damesh Sheth are here, and they're going to look at all the deals. Remember, just over 24 hours now before the first window of the summer closes. In fact, just under 24 hours. Victor Gyökeres is in huge demand. Where will he end up? Well, we'll tell you about Manchester United's opening move, and we'll ask if he still fits the bill for Arsenal. Bryan Mbeumo remains a United target. We'll bring you right up to date on his future as his boss at Brentford, Thomas Frank, prepares to head to Tottenham. Damesh, let's talk Manchester United. Gyökeres. Is that going to happen?
This is interesting because there's been developments today. We're told that Manchester United have made initial approaches over the sporting striker Victor Gyökeres, but it's via intermediaries. So it should be stated here, it isn't club-to-club contact yet. It's one of those situations where they will approach intermediaries to try and explore the conditions of a particular deal.
Is that normal?
Yeah, these things can happen between clubs. If a player has been told, yes, we will allow you to leave provided the price is right, there's no point wasting time. It's almost the unwritten rule of, like, see if you can sort out a club and then the two clubs will come together and try and sort out a price. There's no point spending weeks and weeks, clubs trying to sort out a fee, finally getting it over the line and then say, come on then, oh no, I don't fancy going. Yeah. And all of that will have been for nothing. So there has to be some sort of encouragement that the player would want to go. We do know that the head coach, Ruben Amorim, is a huge admirer of Victor Gyökeres. He played under Amorim at Sporting, played fantastically well under Amorim, continued to play fantastically well last season as well. And it should also be said here that United are in the market for a striker regardless of what happens with Rasmus Højlund. We did tell you last week that there has been some interest, particularly from Italy, where his stock is still quite high because he came from Atalanta, was highly rated when United took a punt on him. Inter Milan, we think, are interested. They were just waiting for Christian Kivu to be appointed officially, and now they will make a decision on whether they want to pursue it or not. Rasmus Højlund, though, publicly at least, is saying, I've got a contract here for another few years. I'll be at Manchester United next season and I will be competing for my place next season. It should also be said here that United, yes, they are interested in Victor Gyökeres, that is clear, but there are a number of other players in that position that they'll be looking at too.
Are they still looking at Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford?
100%, yeah. Talks are ongoing between Manchester United and Brentford over the signing of Bryan Mbeumo. United, we think, will go back in with an improved offer for the forward after their first offer was rejected. That first offer was an initial £45 million plus £10 million in performance-related add-ons. So you're looking at a total package of £55 million. And I think United knew that would get rejected, but it's the start of a negotiation. What we do know is that Bryan Mbeumo wants to go to Manchester United. There's all this talk that's come up recently that with Thomas Frank potentially going to Tottenham, would he try and sign Bryan Mbeumo? He might try and do that, but as far as we're aware, we think that Mbeumo has chosen United.
Damesh, we've been told, haven't we, there's doom and gloom financially at Manchester United. People have, sadly lost their roles and stuff. Where's the money coming from for these signings?
Well, I mean, look, with regard to the Cunha signing and the Mbeumo signing, it's not Manchester United start a transfer window and they've got £0 to spend. They will have a budget, and I think that regardless of what happens with sales, those two kind of signings will fall within that budget. I think thereafter, then you might see a situation where Manchester United will have to maybe make sales to fund other signings. Now, if you look, interestingly, at the signings that they're trying to make at the moment, Mbeumo and Cunha's in already. You could argue that they would likely play in the number 10, one of the number 10 roles behind the striker. Now, if you look at the players that United have in their squad who could potentially play in that role, you're looking at the likes of Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Garnacho. They look like that they would be up for sale effectively for United. So I think United would prefer permanent sales of those players. If you look at their market value at the moment, they would probably get around upwards of 100 100 to 125 million pounds combined for those 4 players, but you can't rule out loan moves again for these players either, because some of them, particularly Rashford and Sancho, will be on high wages. And so would a club want to take on those high wages, or will they need the help of a club like United to be able to maybe just subsidise some of those wages as well?
Another complicated summer for United then. Carvey, let's talk.
Manchester United's pursuit of attacking reinforcements is heating up, with Bryan Mbeumo still at the top of their list. The club initially had a £45 million plus £10 million add-ons bid turned down by Brentford, who are holding out for a full £60 million. However, reports suggest United haven't backed off and have submitted a revised offer closer to Brentford's valuation. With Mbeumo reportedly keen on the move and personal terms not expected to be an issue, this deal has momentum and looks like one that could be wrapped up if both clubs can reach a final agreement soon. Meanwhile, Victor Gyökeres remains a strong backup option but presents a trickier challenge. Manchester United have made an approach in the region of £60 million, but the Portuguese striker has a release clause closer to £85 million. Though there's talk of a gentleman's agreement potentially allowing a lower fee, the main hurdle could be Gyökeres' preference for Champions League football, something United can't offer right now. Arsenal's interest complicates matters too, and unless the Gunners pull out or shift focus elsewhere, United may struggle to land him. If neither deal materialises quickly, United could pivot toward other targets. Ruben Amorim's influence on United's strategy means players familiar with his system, perhaps even from Sporting, could emerge as alternatives. But for now, the focus is squarely on closing the Mbeumo deal. Gyökeres remains in the picture, but United know they'll have to move fast and convincingly to stay in the race, especially as the summer transfer window starts to accelerate.